What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA Show. We are back. Well, I am back. Huzaifa right here live. And Justin is joining. He's actually finishing up some other MMA shows right now that he is guest starring on, which is incredible. So we are excited to get Justin's feedback. But we had to start the show because I do have to take a hard stop later today. Now, what I wanted to tell you guys is that since this is the week. This is the week we've been waiting for all year. It's UFC 300 week, and we are beyond excited, beyond thrilled. There's just so much to talk about this week. So we're going to be doing more than our typical two shows. We're also open to suggestions. What do you guys want to hear from us? What do you guys want us to talk about? We're going to make additional videos on top of the typical live stream shows where we discuss the most relevant topics going on each week. So there's just a ton to talk about. And today, as you can see in the title, I wanted to jump in right off the bat with the biggest story of the week, which is the fact that UFC 300 is here. And as we kind of wait for Justin, I wanted to go through the fight card, talking about the early prelims and the preliminary card and the main card, and kind of go through and talk about all the fights and give my favorite for what I cannot wait for this Saturday. We're going to watch it with a bunch of friends. It's going to be amazing. And this is truly, no matter what people want to say, no matter what people want to say about the main event and what they were expecting and what has kind of come to fruition and whatnot, this is the best card we've seen of all time. It really is. It's the deepest. It's unbelievable. Western Mass Climber wants to see Cody Garbrandt knocking Biggie's block off. Yeah, I like Cody Garbrandt. I like Davison Figueiredo too, but I think I would probably be rooting in the same direction as you. And so let's go ahead. I want to take a look at the card, and I'm going to talk about what some other folks have been saying about this card, good and bad, and we're going to go through. So starting with the early prelims, I mean, geez, this is just such a fire card. Starting with that first fight, Jalen Turner versus Renato Moicano. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with this matchup, it is really kind of a striker versus grappler matchup, if you want to put it that way. Renato Moicano, I'm sure, is going to try and take down and smother Jalen Turner. He's going to try over and over. Jalen Turner's got amazing Muay Thai, super long reach. He's big for the weight class. So definitely is cutting a lot of weight. He has those advantages. I really don't know what to expect. And I'm equally eager to see either of them win. Renato Moicano, if you haven't had a chance to check out his YouTube channel and really see his personality, he's a really fun guy to root for, same as Jalen Turner. So that's a phenomenal fight. We've got Jim Miller versus Bobby Green, another crazy fight. And Jim Miller has been in the game for a very long time, so he's definitely a fan favorite. And obviously, everybody loves Bobby Green. The only thing about this Bobby Green fight that will give us a little pause, perhaps, is the fact that he's just coming off like a pretty quick turnaround from getting knocked out brutally by Jalen Turner. I think I heard MMA Guru today talking about the fact that it was less than a month and a half from when he got knocked out. If you remember the KO, he not only got knocked out, but the ref arguably stopped it way too late. Justin has talked about this on the show where he kind of supported the ref's decision because he said, hey, we always want to have more time to recover than less time. We'd rather take a few more hits to the head as fighters, from the fighter perspective. Obviously, us as fans, we were like, oh my God, what's happening? But anyways, he got beat up badly, got knocked out and got hit multiple times after the fight should have been probably stopped. So after that, less than a month and a half after that brutal knockout, he's not only back training, he's back in fight camp. So that's a quick turnaround. So I think there's a little bit of concern there in terms of how well he's been able to truly recover before jumping into a fight camp. But it is what it is. That's going to be a fan favorite. And then, of course, we got Western Mass Climber psyched for Cody Garbrandt versus Davison Figueiredo. Amazing fight. The fact that these are on the early prelims is insane, right? Like this is starting at 3 p.m. PST, and I'm planning to watch all the way through. And this is the first fight that I've ever looked at the early prelims with such excitement. Every single fight, even Jessica Andrade and Marina Rodriguez, that's the fight that I know the least about in full honesty, but that's still going to be a great fight as well. All right, now we move to the prelims. And the prelims are basically like a main event for any other typical fight card. And we've got, I mean, look at this. This is just so ridiculous. This is actually might be an underrated fight. Yusuf versus Diego Lopez. So I don't know if you guys saw Diego Lopez's last fight. Amazing finish, amazing fighter. And Sadiq Yusuf, I'm not sure. What are the odds? Let me look this up here really quickly. Yusuf versus Diego Lopez odds. Let's check this out. Yeah, so we've got Diego Lopez at a -132. I mean, that's razor close. But this is going to be an unbelievable fight. Diego Lopez is a lot of fun. Now, this might be one of my top fights, maybe my top 3 fights that I'm excited about. And I don't know if everybody else feels this way, but I can't wait to see Kayla Harrison versus Holly Holm. Some people are not as eager about it. Maybe they're saying the weight cut's too much for Kayla. It's gonna, I don't know what arguments people want to make. But Holly Holmes is a legend, incredible fighter, amazing stand-up, amazing boxing. And if you've been watching Kayla Harrison, is also managed by Ali Abdelaziz. She's so much fun to listen to in interviews on Ariel Helwani's show and other shows. She just gives it straight to you. She says what she feels. She's not afraid to speak her mind. She's one of my favorite fighters of all time. A lot of people call her the captain of the, what is it, the gym. She's in the same gym as Dustin Poirier, Jorge Masvidal, and I'm blanking on the name right now. But it's a huge top team, American top team. A lot of people consider her like the team leader because that's how strong her mind is. Olympic gold medalist, finally making her debut in the UFC after she's been treated so well at the PFL, made tons of money there. Now she's coming. Why? Because she wants to show that she's the best of the best. And I believe she is. I think a lot of people believe that she is. One of the matchups that people were hoping to see was her versus Amanda Nunes. Obviously, that probably will never happen now. And they were former teammates, so it's a little weird. But let's see, man. I mean, how exciting. We always want to see fighters on the rise. And this could be Kayla Harrison's chance to come into the UFC, make a stir, get that belt, do her thing. And that's always exciting. And she's such an exemplary person, such an amazing source of inspiration, what she's done in terms of her family life, taking on, she's adopted her niece and nephew to be her own children, raising them as her own. I mean, I don't know. She's the best. If you don't know much about her, I highly encourage you to, and I don't know why there's no picture of her here on Google, but she is unbelievable. So I cannot wait for this fight. Look at this. Calvin Kattar versus Aljamain Sterling. I mean, what a good fight. And if I don't even know, how do you get he just lost the belt and now he's on the prelims, but it's UFC 300. So it kind of makes sense that this is the one exception where otherwise you'd want to see him on the main card for sure. And then look at this fight. Yuri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic. If you saw Rakic's last fight, I think he's coming off an injury, but man, he's an exciting fighter. And I'm sure you know who Yuri Prochazka is. What an unbelievable fighter, amazing fighting style, the mindset of a warrior. He's amazing to listen to in interviews as well. Just that true warrior mentality. I'm going to go with Yuri on this one. I just think he's too tough. He's too mentally tough, and he's ready to come back to the win column. So cannot wait for that. Now we get to the main card, and I'm going to tell you my favorite fight off the bat here. Now, people are talking smack about this matchup, Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. You want to say what you want to say. You want to say it's a mismatch. You want to say Bo Nickel's going to walk right through him. I got a couple things to say on that. Number one, this is the UFC. So you might say that, hey, he's going to walk through him. There are no easy fights in the UFC. I don't care what anybody says. And he is coming off of 2 wins. Granted, one of those was through disqualification. But Cody Brundage it's not going to be a walk in the park for anybody. Now, is Bo Nickel heavily favored to win? Is he probably going to win? Yeah, but that's still exciting to me. So I'm not feeling so badly about this fight whatsoever being on the main card. Also, remember, we're watching that rise. We're watching somebody come up who's likely going to be a UFC champ one day, maybe one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. I mean, there is that potential there. So to me, this is a fantastic main card slot. I'm really excited that it's on there. Yeah, could you have slotted him out for Yuri versus Rakic? Possibly, but I'm excited for it. And either way, I would have watched it no matter what. So it is what it is, but I'm excited for this. I think it's a fantastic fight. All right, now we're going to talk about some of the rest of these. I'm going to bring Justin into the mix. Justin has just joined. What's up? We're talking about UFC 300. I'm just going through the last of the main card, and then I'm going to say what my favorite fights are. I'm saying my third favorite fight, by the way, is Kayla Harrison versus Holly Holm. That's my pick, but just because I'm a huge Kayla Harrison fan. I mean, look at this. Charles Oliveira versus Sarukian. This is going to be an unbelievable fight. I think a lot of people recognize what an unbelievable, amazing matchup this is. I would say my number 2 fight that I'm most interested in, I don't know, it's a toss-up between these two, but I'm going to go with Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway. I think this is going to be a really interesting fight, and I think Max has got a great shot. And the winner of this fight, there are consequences, regardless of the BMF belt, but in terms of moving up and actually challenging for the belt. I think it's going to be next. We're going to talk about Dustin versus Islam in a second. That's all but been announced. I feel like that's coming to be finalized soon. Of course, we got Weili Zhang. She's my favorite female fighter, one of my favorite female fighters after Kayla Harrison. Let's put it that way. That's going to be an unbelievable fight. But here's my number 1 fight. It's the main event. And that might not be a surprise to people because you're saying, well, it's the main event. Obviously, it's your favorite fight. as we've mentioned before, I think other people who may not be as into the sport, may not necessarily be as familiar with these fighters. They're expecting a Conor McGregor or Jon Jones or somebody who's got a little bit more name recognition to, let's say, more casual fans. But if you really look at the matchup, as we were talking about on Friday, this is going to be the best fight on the card, I think. It's going to be light heavyweight, big guys, and very, very skilled fighters. Alex Pereira, arguably one of the greatest strikers ever to enter the UFC. And Jamal Hill might also be one of the greatest strikers, just does not have that recognition, at least not as of yet, by the main folks. I think a lot of fighters who really know fighting recognize Jamal Hill to be truly fantastic and really exceptional. But this is going to be just an absolute unbelievable matchup. And Celine pops in there and says, can't wait. Excited to see Pereira fight. First time for me. Yeah, it's going to be phenomenal. And I think you're going to be impressed with Jamal Hill. I know Alex Pereira seems to get a lot of the spotlight here, but I think you're going to be surprised with Jamal Hill. Rewatch his knockout of Johnny Walker. All right, Justin, let me turn it over to you. I know you were just finishing up a podcast. We just wanted to get going. But what are you most excited, or what are the couple fights that you're most excited for on this card?
One fight that I'm really excited for is a teammate of mine that not a lot of people are talking about, and I'm surprised not a lot of people are talking about, because we're talking champion versus champion. We're talking about Deiveson Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt, man. Cody going down to 35, Deiveson going up. Like, this is a fight that nobody's talking about. It's the first fight on the prelims. Guys, these are two former UFC champions in different weight classes coming down to meet each other. This is, man, I think this fight is going to be incredible. It's going to be fast. You know, Cody has been working with GIF, you know, at Extreme Couture and wherever else he's training right now, working on his boxing. I think this is going to be a striker's delight. I don't think there's going to be a lot of grappling in this fight. I think one of these guys are going to sleep in 3 rounds. Now, going to another fight that I'm really looking forward to, Kayla Harrison versus Holly Holm. I just was doing a podcast with Don Fry and Adam Hunter, and this is the fight we were talking about. I think it's overlooked. You know, you have Holly Holm, you know, she knocked out Ronda Rousey. She's the woman that came in and dethroned arguably one of the best female fighters of all weight classes of all time. She's going against Kayla Harrison, 2-time world champion in judo. Like, I think she's the only American woman to ever be a 2-time world champion. Like, this is incredible. Now, things that people might not know about this matchup is Kayla Harrison is going down a weight class. She's going to a weight class she has never made weight before. Now, from experience, cutting down to a new weight class is very, very tough, because you don't know how your body's going to adapt. You don't know how you're going to feel come fight day. I'm speaking from experience. I fought at lightweight and welterweight my whole career. When I got to the UFC, I had to make featherweight on short notice. I tell you what, I had the nutritionist behind me. I had a strength coach behind me. And I'm just telling you, fight day, I just did not feel good, man. My body was in bad shape. I was battered. I was bruised. Can Kayla Harrison make weight properly? I don't know. When I've stood next to this girl, her shoulders are bigger than mine. Her traps are bigger than mine. This is a big, strong woman. And my question is, can she make weight? And if she does make weight, can she keep up with the pace of Holly Holm? That is what we're willing to find out. Now, another fight I'm looking forward to. It's not my favorite fight. I'm going to go to my favorite fight last. Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira. You know, me being friends with Jamal Hill, I'm trying to get him on the show this week. It's not looking good. You saw the text messages him and I had going back and forth. You know, I know he's busy, man. And trust me, I've never fought for a world championship before, but fight week is very, very crazy. You got, yeah, my manager I'd be doing 6, 7, 8, 10 podcasts a day. So I don't think we're going to be able to get him on the show this week. But regardless, Jamal Hill is a fucking animal. And the thing I appreciate about Jamal Hill is he does what he says he's going to do. He says Alex is way overestimated in his striking. He's going to make him look elementary when it comes. I am looking forward to see if Jamal Hill can do that. And going to my number 1 favorite fight of the night, and I'm really surprised it's not your favorite fight, Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. That's my main event, man. And I know I'm friends with Jamal Hill, and I'm not throwing shade at him, but Justin Gaethje is one of my favorite fighters, if not one of my most favorite fighters of all time. We have Max Holloway going up a weight class. Now, the problem I have with Max Holloway going up a weight class is, look at Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway when he went up a weight class. Max just didn't have the same pop. Dustin, you know, was much bigger than him, much more powerful than him, and was able to dictate the pace. Justin Gaethje knocked out Dustin Poirier. So, can Max, you know, I don't know how his strength, I'm sure he's put on some mass. I really want to see him at the weigh-ins. I want to see how he's filled out. You know, I want to do a side-by-side comparison. That's what we should do Friday, is these guys that are changing weight classes Huzaifa. We should do like, hey, this is when they made, Davison Figueroa 125. This is what they look like when they won 35, and see what the difference is. Let's see if Max Holloway, is he putting on fat or is he putting on muscle? And that's really, and if he puts on too much muscle, is cardio going to be able to keep up? Max is known for being able to go 5 rounds and dish out hundreds and hundreds of punches through 5 rounds. But putting on that extra 10, 15 pounds, can he keep up with that pace? He's going up to Justin Gaethje's weight class, who he's made weight 100 times. He's fought for the title. I'm favoring Justin Gaethje in this, but this is going to be the barn burner fight of the night for me. This is fight of the night written all over it. Tune in for this fight because somebody's getting hurt.
It is going to be one of my favorite fights, and the only reason why I put the main event above it, it's all about what's on the line to me. Now, yeah, you could say the BMF belt, but to me, the stakes are definitely higher for the light heavyweight belt for both Jamal Hill and Alex Pereira. Big stakes on the line, so that's what sways me. I actually think it's going to be about equal in terms of the action and what we can expect. So both of those are unbelievable. Justin Gaethje is also one of my favorite fighters, as is Max Holloway. So can't wait for that. By the way, Kayla Harrison, when you mentioned the weight cut, she claims, and I believe her, that they've already tested and she's already cut the weight as a test. She did a test weight cut and she said she made it. So for whatever that's worth, hopefully that goes in favor of her coming out and have amazing showing. And that's my third fight that I want to see. If you haven't watched a lot of Kayla Harrison interviews, like I said, I encourage you to go back and do that. All right. Well, we can't wait. And we're going to do a lot of shows this week, as I mentioned, not just our typical Monday and Friday, because this is the week. This is the week we've all been waiting for. Now, there's a couple of interesting stories that I wanted to jump up with before I have to do a hard stop at 2. But this is one that I wanted to talk to you about and get your opinion on. So Jon Jones, okay, I don't know if you saw this over the weekend, but it's been a big story. Jon Jones is apparently in trouble again. Now, Jesse on Fire did a video on this, and this was when the testing agency came to his house unannounced, the new testing agency, to do a doping test in the middle of a birthday party when he was inebriated. Now, apparently, he was a little bit rude to the testers because they interrupted him, and this is the comment that he made, which isn't necessarily a threat, but he made the comment that, hey, normally when people come up to my house unannounced, they end up dead. He said something like that. And the woman, I guess, who was one of the people that came and tested, she then filed a police report and said she felt like her life was being threatened and in danger. Jesse on Fire does this whole thing where he actually defends Jon Jones, and he's not like a Jon Jones, defendant all the time. He's definitely torn him a new one when he deserved it. But he talked about it and is basically saying this is a nonsensical complaint. What I wanted to ask you was, from your perspective, I know you used to get annoyed a lot with USADA coming in to do random drug tests. What is your perspective on something like this? A fighter being rude, making a comment he definitely shouldn't have made. But does this classify as something worthy of filing a police report, or is this something that's just ridiculous in your opinion?
This is fucking ridiculous, man. And with all the hate that Jon Jones gets, and he's made some big mistakes before through his career, man. And they're not even huge mistakes, honestly. All the things that he's really done wrong, his drug use and this and that. Most fighters are doing that. They just don't get caught. And unfortunately, when he has a spotlight on him, because he's arguably one of the greatest of all time, he has a bigger spotlight on him. So really, I don't see him any different than any other fighter. He's just unfortunately, he's in the spotlight and he's gotten caught. Now imagine, you're doing a birthday celebration for your mom, you're singing happy birthday, and somebody walks up to your house, hey, you need to drug test right now. And especially if you're drinking or smoking pot or doing whatever normal people do, like this, like you saw, man, these drug testing agencies are I just hate them, man. Like, they can show up whenever they want, invade your privacy, invade your space. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And now, oh yes, people end up dead. My life was that. Oh, you're gonna get killed by the world, one of the most popular fighters of all time. You think he's gonna beat you up? Shut your fucking mouth, Karen, and go get the fuck out of this sport, man. It's people like this. And you know what? I saw Jon Jones is, that he's like, oh, okay, I shouldn't have said that. But dude, I've said so much worse to people, and for her to take it so literal is just ridiculous. And not to mention, Jon talks about, after they were leaving, he gave the woman a hug.
Yeah, high five or something.
And high five and a hug or something along those lines. Like, and then she goes to the police. This woman is You know what? I'm going to take a Sean Strickland quote. This woman is the definition of weak and the problem with society right now. And I hope she sees me say that, because Sean Strickland said it about that reporter, in Canada, when he's provoking, asking the provoking questions and stuff. That's exactly like, you filed up. What, you think Jon Jones is going to hunt you down and beat you up, or beat you up at his house? Like, this is the most outlandish thing that anybody could ever say. And like, file a man, hasn't this guy went through enough? He's clean. He's spending time with his family. You show up to his house, disturb the time he's having with his family, and he gets irritated about it, and you file a police report. Get the fuck out of here, man. I hate that shit. And I tell you what, I hate people like her. The typical American Karen feels entitled. Oh, I'm just doing my job. Guess what? You know what? Jobs have consequences. You know what? That's like a police officer pulling somebody over, and they're irritated that he pulled them over. Oh, he's just doing his job. Yes, but it's still irritating. When I get pulled over, I'm irritated. The next 20 minutes of my day are dealt with this. Now she comes, interrupts whatever they're doing, and he has to take 30 minutes to an hour away from his family, away from his whatever he's doing, to go piss in the cup. Of course he's going to be irritated. Like, who wouldn't be? You would be irritated. I was irritated when they show up my house. You know what? Like I said, this woman is the definition of a Karen, and she's the definition of what's wrong with society in the United States right now.
Oh, that was I think you hit it right on it. And I just want to read a statement from Jon Jones. Again, I think more information is still coming out, but we're gonna read this. He goes, "I wanted to address some misinformation that has been circulating. I woke up to false reports that I've been arrested. I have not been arrested. In fact, I'm currently in Texas with my daughters at a volleyball tournament." And he goes, "I was recently visited by testers while I was celebrating a birthday and taking a nap. Upon waking up, I was caught off guard by the unprofessionalism and protocol by one of the testers, which caused frustration, leading me to use some profanity I regret. However, I want to emphasize that at no point did I threaten, get in anyone's face, raise my voice to anyone, or engage in any form of assault. It's unfortunate that false news has been spread without proper fact checking." So there you go. And I think that kind of lines up with the story and the narrative as well. I think this is blown out of proportion. And apparently her supervisor told her not to file the police report. So there you have it. And
her job. I hope she loses her job. Like, can you imagine laying on your couch after you're drinking in the sun with your family, having a good time? You go to take a nap, and then someone's waking you up. Hey, I need you to get the fuck out of my house. I would say the same thing. And he swore at you in his house. You know what? Jose, if you come to my house and I have an issue with you, anything I say, even if I'm going to kill you or what, you're in my house. Like, leave. Like, you're in my house. You're invading my space. You're invading Jon Jones's space and waking him up. What do you expect? Like, it's just so ridiculous. You go into somebody's house and file a police report on them for the way they treated you inside their house. Get the fuck out of here. And man, that shit bothers me.
All right, let's move on, because I gotta jump off in 5 minutes. So like I said, me and Justin are gonna talk. We're gonna be doing probably a show every day this week if we can swing it, if Justin can swing it, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So we're really gonna dive deeper into all of these fights and get into the nitty gritty as we mentioned. So the last thing I want to talk about today is this. Okay, it is Poirier versus Islam. Seems to be almost official. I'm going to show you this video from the Weasel. So this is very, very, very exciting. Here, let's check this out here. Okay.
It's all but confirmed by the big man. Dustin Poirier posted that the fight is done, pretty much confirming that he's going to be fighting Islam Makhachev next. We don't know the date, and we don't know where it's going to be. Watch when Dustin blows his title shot for a guillotine. He pulls.
Okay, we're gonna stop it there. So now he's talking about this whole notion of, he goes on to talk in the video about Dustin fighting Islam and then going for jumping a guillotine like he did against Khabib, and saying that, hey, Islam's actually, from what all people said, a better grappler than Khabib. He's going to jump a guillotine and he's going to get submitted. That's another thing we could talk about. But anyways, it appears like this is going down. I think the timing is going to work out. Ramadan is almost over, so Islam is probably going to be back in fight camp soon. He wants to fight in June. There's no way, I think, unless there's some crazy happens, there's no way Max Holloway or Justin Gaethje are going to be able to turn around quickly enough. And I imagine they're trying to get this deal signed before UFC 300, just in case. So just a couple minutes. Justin, what are your thoughts on this fight?
I'd rather see, if Justin Gaethje beats Max Holloway, I think he's more deserving, seeing he just beat Poirier brutally by knocking him out. With that being said, Poirier did go in there. He beat a really, really good up and coming fighter. But yeah, I mean, the Weasel has it right. Like, if Dustin Poirier is trying to jump guillotine on Islam, I think it's going to be a quick night. I think Islam's going to get right on top, going to mount him, beat him up, either find a rear naked choke or a side choke really soon. I'd really like to hear, I shouldn't say I'd like to hear, but I mean, I'd like to know what his game plan would be going against Islam. I feel like keeping him at distance, keeping his back off the cage, staying in the center of the ring would be the right game plan. But saying what the right game plan is and implementing against the best pound for pound fighter in the world are two different things. I just don't think Dustin has enough in the tank to beat Islam. I think Islam's going to have his way with him. I think the striking, Dustin will come out looking good. And then as soon as Islam takes him down or Justin jumps guillotine, I think that's going to be the beginning to the end, whether it's the first round or the second round. I think as soon as any kind of grappling gets engaged, it's going to be the beginning of the end.
Very well could be. Now, you did mention Justin Gaethje and wanting to see that matchup. The good thing is that Islam is claiming he wants to fight 3 times this year. So it would be this fight, probably something in September, and maybe right before the year wraps up. So hopefully if Justin does come out with the victory, or Max, whoever, hey they'll go on.
How about this for fairy tale land? Dustin goes in there, or Islam beats Poirier, gets a shot. He beats Gaethje, and then Connor comes back and starts his Islam. Now that is the way to end it here.
That's a way to end the show. All right, I got to bounce. I got a hard stop at 2. Great to see you. Great to talk about all this stuff. And guys, thank you guys so much for joining. Check in with us all week. If you like this video, make sure to click that like button. And if you want to see more from the show, as we're growing 208 subscribers, we're on our way. Click that subscribe button. Let's go, everybody. All right, thank you guys so much for joining. Justin, thank you so much. Western Mass Climber, thank you so much as per usual. And we will see you guys next time. Take it easy.